are things on the business side?
Well, Marc, they're really good. I'm quite surprised. Of course, we were bracing ourselves for the Corona headwind emerging in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But so far so good. We see that a lot of customers are accelerating their digital plans and are looking for solutions that can help them drive digital commerce. So yeah, very positive.
Oh, good. That's a bit in line with what we're reading everywhere in terms of the trends, right? Regards to the transition.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what you see is that a lot of consumers are switching from offline channels, obviously, to online channels.
Yeah.
And you also see certain product categories in high demand, of course, all in relation to the home office and home life setup.
Yeah.
So certain brands benefit a lot from the current times, and we believe these shifts will continue a long time into 2021 and 2022. So these changes will probably be fundamental.
Looking into 2021 and maybe a bit beyond that, what do you think businesses should do based on what you're seeing right now with your customers?
Well, there are customers that are very ambitious in terms of digital, and we see that those are the customers that very much will thrive in the current times and in the near future. In fact,
yeah.
The other day I was reading an article by Mary Meeker, a famous person who publishes very regularly internet trends. And she also confirmed that there will be winners and there will be laggards, and the winners usually have already a very firm digital agenda in place, and they will even gain further. There's many examples in the industries, and we work with quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so again, to the point of accelerating digital is very important in these times. You will gain a competitive advantage.
Yeah, but digital is a broad concept, right? I mean, if we try to make it more tangible, what are they actually doing now that they didn't do before?
So it's very important that you work on your e-commerce capabilities. And that you create this network of your other channels in e-commerce. So very obviously we are working with brands that have retail channels as well as their own e-commerce.
Yeah.
So, and usually they sell around about 90% of their total sales is going through their retail channels.
Yeah, true. That's shocking, isn't it?
It is, and it's very interesting to see that many of brands are still out there that do not connect their selected and preferred retailers to their digital experiences.
Is that also, do you think, due to the siloing that's still going on a lot within organizations?
So I do think that larger organizations tend to think in channels.
Yeah.
Not very often they think in terms of the customer moving across all of these channels. The customer doesn't care about the channel, right?
Yeah, true.
They just want to buy a product whenever they feel like buying a product, whenever they want it, and preferably they would like to have it the same day or the next day.
True.
And in terms of that experience, brands invest a lot of money into their digital operations, e-commerce, fulfillment, etc. And then they, in digital marketing, we talk branding, digital marketing, we talk a lot about attribution. And then they only attribute the last click sale on their own website to all of these investments. So talking about increasing your conversions, include your retailers.
It gives you a broader
insight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually think you were the first person to quote that phrase, omni-commerce. But if you had to explain it to somebody that has absolutely no knowledge about it, what would you say?
So, unfortunately, I haven't coined the term. It exists, it's out there, but it's a little bit less known than omni-channel commerce, omni-channel marketing. I think omni-channel is the broader term, and omni-commerce for me is right to the point that you're combining all your commercial touch points. And I've got a background in commerce, so I'm kind of commerce driven. And I think it's very important to not have a single commerce view like in the traditional D2C environment, but have a omni-commerce view, understand where your customers are converting across the customer journey, and that's what I would say is omni-commerce.
Exactly, just being there where they want to convert or where they want to buy. Converting is so much an inside-out perspective, but really thinking, okay, how do they want to touch?
Yeah, give them the opportunity to purchase, really.
Exactly.
Because it could be the case that they want to purchase straight from Facebook.
Yeah, true.
Or purchase, sometimes on your desktop environment on your D2C.
Yeah.
But very often also other touch points. But you got to be there.
Yeah.
It's
true. It's actually something we say a lot within our own marketing as well. It's just making sure that there's a 360-degree approach, that whichever direction the customer goes, whether it is intended or unintended, you're always there to communicate with them. And in this case, it's more on the commercial perspective. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So I've got a question for you, Marc. So when you talk about marketing, what are your thoughts and ideas for the near future? In these times, how should marketing planning look like?
Oh yeah, I've got a dozen ideas about that. Let's walk further and tell you about that.
Okay.
So thinking about the omni-channel concept again, I think from a marketing perspective, there are two things that are really crucial at this moment. One of them is optimizing your customer experience, really making sure that you have it all worked out perfect and offer a perfect experience as much as possible. That ties into the omni-commerce approach. Mm-hmm. So making sure that when somebody comes there, they get a good experience. They eventually think, hey, you know what? I might not be ready to buy it right now, but if I'm going to buy it, I'm definitely going to come back to these guys and talk to them. Mm-hmm. That would be one. And the other one is something that senior C-level management and board members usually don't really appreciate that much, but that is, especially in a crisis period, at least keep your marketing spend equal, if not even raise it a bit more, because very often it is a very irrational decision to then immediately cut certain costs, where if a lot of people start doing it, which they very often will, if you do it too, you miss out on the opportunity to actually make a difference, actually work on your visibility.
Yes.
So in these times right now, they might not immediately buy it back, or they might not buy it from you because they've seen your brand, but at least they will see your brand over another brand at this moment.
Yeah,
so
I think that's so true, yeah.
So I think those are the two key points that I would definitely say from a marketing perspective. Yeah, and there's of course content is key, and another one of those trends is that you see that people are just creating content for the sake of creating content and making everything SEO suitable.
Right.
But you're gonna see that people are really now looking for subject matter expert SME type of content. Mm-hmm. So really wanting to hear firsthand from people what they're experiencing and also what they actually think about the whole situation or what their options are.
And I think these, again, coming to the beginning of our conversation, these are uncertain times. So you are actually looking for subject matter experts that can actually help you navigate through these turbulent times.
Yeah, true.
And so you need to try and get your knowledge from so many different sources, and that's really important.
I can imagine from a sales perspective, especially the customer, that might be one of the first questions they ask. Right. Yeah, we're spending this, but what's our ROI?
So that's a key question, really. And again, any marketeer with a performance background, and I guess every e-commerce manager should also have a performance view on these kind of matters, is the fact that and coming to ROI, for me that means predominantly having a full funnel visibility where your customers ultimately purchase a product, where you can measure that sales conversion.
Yeah.
So build your data over time. Prove how the digital touch points can be attributed to a sale. It's not easy, but you need to take this step by step.
Yeah.
Exactly. And start building your data models in Excel or whatever you're using. But just start somewhere and show and display what your digital experience does and contributes to the overall sales divided by different touch points.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in e-commerce, of course, know what their e-commerce sales are, and many of them are already running a separate P&L for the e-commerce operation. But look also for ways how you can attribute people purchasing products.
But just to jump in on that, because I think it ties back to the point you also made earlier about that 90% of the business is going to your retailers. So in fact, that 10% which is not going through retailers or wholesale, that is pretty much an isolated ecosystem, which you can measure perfectly, but it doesn't give you the full picture.
Right, and you have a choice. You have a choice to also measure the sales coming from your website, maybe not to the full extent, but again, remember, let's take small steps and attribute sales with that 90%. Maybe start with your most important retailers.
Yeah.
Do a pilot and try and measure what is coming from your website to these retailers. You could even include Amazon.
Yeah.
And measure the conversion of your products at the website of the retailer as a result of the lead traffic coming from your website. And this is possible in today, and build your case for your digital experience based on these numbers and metrics. And obviously you will instantly increase the conversion of your PDP on your brand e-commerce website dramatically if you can include the conversions with retail.
And isn't that really what it's all about at the end?
Absolutely, because you got to look at your e-commerce site as a digital experience, and attach and tie into that the different purchase moments or conversion moments with your preferred channels.
Yeah.
It's really exciting, and technology gives us this opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. And I like it because, we have some very, very big global powerful brands that have a very high level of digital maturity, where you can see that technology like ours becomes a piece of their landscape that they just cannot do without anymore, because it ties in a lot of pieces of the puzzle.
Yes.
And I think that's always a good idea to say, that it is at the beginning of the innovation wave, where when people start to see the additional value, it's going to start flowing even faster. Yeah.
And it's driven mainly now by the main brands in, let's say, verticals such as consumer electronics or computing. They are ahead, or at least a few of them are ahead, and showing the way of building these omni-channel and omni-commerce digital experiences and driving sales experiences across the customer journeys.
Yeah.
So really exciting.
No, that's really nice. Yeah, no, that's cool.